Woe to you, O earth and sea! For the devil sends the beast with wrath, because he knows the time is short. Let him who has understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666.
And then macroevolution is changes between the kinds of animals, different kinds, and I use the word kinds deliberately. Then lastly is microevolution, variations within the kind. So I accept evolution if you mean number 6. None of this is part of science. Neither Fiona nor anybody else has ever seen a dog produce a non-dog or a dog come from a non-dog, and you couldn't possibly use any fossils as evidence for this. Fossils are simply an animal that died. You couldn't prove it had any children, and you sure couldn't prove it had different children. And why would we think a bone we found in the dirt or rocks can do something that no animal today can do? Every farmer in the world, all through recorded human history, has counted on macroevolution not happening. Microevolution, they may raise cows that are better adapted to a certain kind of grass or hay, or better adapted to cold climate or warm climate, like the Brahma bull for the hot climate. No question, there's varieties of cows, and most have been capitalized on for economic gain for some farmer, but they're still a cow. It is pure dreamland. Somebody's smoking something if they believe cows and bananas are related if you go back far enough. They could welcome to believe that, but it's not science. So if you carefully define the word, I accept number 6. If that's what you mean by evolution, I accept it. If you mean this, number 5, I don't accept that. I would defy anybody to show me one shred of evidence. If there are similarities between the gene sequences of these different animals, that wouldn't prove relationship. And a freshman in the court of law could prove that wrong. That could prove a common designer, just as well as a common ancestor. But to take it as only evidence for common ancestor is not logical. It's not common sense. It's just that the Honda Prelude and the Honda Civic have thousands of similarities. They probably use the same cigarette lighter. I don't know. They might have the same windshield put in. That's because the same people are making them. Microsoft Word and Microsoft PowerPoint have thousands of identical lines of code. Identical. Well, that's because the same guys wrote the code. That's all. It's not proof for evolution. So we better carefully define what we're talking about. And one of the guys showed it, I forget, you can get the name down here, the geologic column. He bases the 6 days of creation on the geologic column. The geologic column does not exist any place on Earth except the textbooks and somebody's imagination. There is no geologic column. It doesn't exist. The Earth has layers, but they're not different ages. I show in my video number 4, all over the world, petrified trees are found standing up, connecting all these layers. How can anybody think they're millions of years different in age when the same tree connects them all? I think it's pure fantasy land. Okay?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.